And we're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet So Hail, where we have a casual, very casual, and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're talking about Strange New Worlds Season 3, Episode 3, Shuttle to Kenfori, where we get some resolution on a previous episode, a previous mystery about Dr. Mbenga. We get some more Mortegas, which everyone's been waiting for, but not sure it's the Mortegas everyone was thinking we were gonna get. And space battles and a lot of other fun stuff. That's my episode summary. I'm not going to do a long one for this one because I think the discussion, and I got like 2 pages of notes, so I think the discussion will speak for itself. Marcelo, let's start with you. What did you think of this episode?
I really had mixed emotions on this episode because I like the idea of going to a foreign planet to get a potential plant that will help out the healing process uh for
Captain
Captain
Patel.
Mattel. Captain Mattel. I really like that concept, but I don't like the concept that the plant that they have to go to um was infested by zombies who used to be the scientist colonists who used to study on that planet. I really don't like that. I would have preferred for Captain Pike and Joseph to go down to the planet and to interact with some of the scientists as they were turning into something else, but not zombies. Like
Well, but the
I
thing is, what the war was like 5 years ago or something like
right,
that,
right,
right?
right, right,
Yeah. So,
right,
but
right.
yeah, I hear what you're saying. But anyways, go on. Sorry.
Right. And one thing about the episode that I did like the writers of the I did like the writers harkening back to that episode where Joseph killed that Klingon who was responsible for who knows how many deaths during the Klingon War. I thought that was I thought that was really entertaining as a way to bring Joseph's um how would you say unlawful behavior back to bite him. I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
you're a justice person, so you like it when these things
yes,
resolve.
yes, yes. With that being said, I really hoped towards the end of the episode that Captain Pike would have put Joseph on suspension for like a couple weeks. Cause look, Joseph did kill a Klingon who was essentially a uh sort of prototype of or sort of like a really bad guy. I mean I have somebody else's name on my list, but I don't want to say it. He was a really bad guy, right?
The
And for
butcher, right?
Joseph,
Wasn't he called like the butcher of
yeah,
something? Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
yeah, it's like
yeah, yeah. He was a butcher or something. But for Joseph not to for Joseph not to have to deal with any direct consequences for his actions so far in the series, like that doesn't sit right with me. I don't know how you feel about that.
well, it's a good question. I'll just say that for me, it's a I'm not sure what the answer is because it's a complicated thing because that could have easily have been a mission that Starfleet sent him on. It's just like
Right.
it's a tough call because Joseph did take matters into his own hands, but like I also didn't see a lot of other choices. And
Right.
this episode's really interesting for a lot of reasons. I liked it a lot. I wouldn't say it's like gonna be one of my favorite episodes of Strange New Worlds, but what I liked in the moment was how it just kind of like there's a lot of like uh um I don't know what how to articulate this, but for lack of a better phrasing, there are a lot of like justifiable lies going on.
I like
Uh
that. Justify
you know,
white lies. Yeah.
well, I don't even know if they're white lies because like it is kind of it's tough. Like Joseph lies about Batel's situation. Batel doesn't tell Pike about it. Pike's a mess in this episode. Ortega's lies. Like there's just like a lot of there's a lot of deceit going on, but it's kind of like you can also understand it at the same time. So it's an uncomfortable and weird feeling. I don't know. Maybe through our discussion, I'll be able to articulate it better. But overall, I really liked. Oh, you know what it is? It's like I think this is a great episode that falls under like kind of what do you do in a Kobe. It's a very Kobayashi Maru type of situation. It's like literally there's like no way to win. Like everyone like winning means losing in some way uh
Right.
in this episode. And so, yeah, that's a good I think that's a good way to put it. Um I'm not a fan of like zombie stuff. But I thought that the episode didn't, I thought the zombies were definitely like a secondary thing. There wasn't like as, like other zombie themed things might focus more on the zombies, but I thought it was cool that the zombies were secondary, and the design was phenomenal. I thought especially that one Klingon that screams like on the roof, that like wakes up and it like kind of screams in that or screeches in that weird way or whatever. I thought the science behind it was cool, like the moss that when they were trying to grow a crop and it ended up being like this terrible thing. And I think that's like relevant today because we're doing all this, unfortunately, companies are doing all these like genetic crops and things like that. I mean, like seedless, just anything from like seedless fruits to these crops that can only grow if you buy a certain kind of seed and they can trace your seed. It's like all kinds of weird stuff is going on. So I think also, we're in a time where we're messing with genetics a lot. So who knows? Like there's so many ways the human race can be wiped out. It's so I think it
Kind of
was a good
scary, isn't it?
yeah, it is scary. I think it was a good cautionary tale about um that kind of stuff. But again, it felt background, and I'm glad because I'm not a fan of zombie stuff.
Mm.
I thought the visuals were phenomenal. I thought the battle with the kind of uh the way that they were trying to rescue them and like everything was really well done and supported beautifully by the visuals. I thought like I loved all the ship stuff. When the Enterprise enters the atmosphere, uh, that was like a stunning looking visual effect. And then I'm a huge fan of Scotty. I think he's like really a standout this season. And so I was happy to see him get more. I thought it was funny how they were like, Pelia. I thought it's funny how they like justified Pelia being not written into the into the
Yeah.
script, into the
Yeah. Look.
story, but it was all right because Scotty did a good job.
Yeah. Look, I am not a fan of Pelia. You know this, and a bunch of other people know this. So to see this episode focus on Scotty was just really, really great. To see him be more involved with the crew, and to see him actually be, boots on the ground, and to see the whole crew have like a like like a like a higher level officers meeting, like we got used to in like TNG, was amazing. One
Yeah, I
thing though,
love that. They did that in TOS too. It's a tradition I think that goes back even
right?
to TOS. So
Actually, I was watching a TOS episode the other day, and actually they did a confab mini. I'm like, wow, they did those back in the day too. Look at that.
yeah, yeah, it was totally a thing that they did.
One thing though, and this is a small little gripe. I did not like Una's hair. Her hair really
I was gonna
bugged me.
ask
I'm like,
you
the
I was gonna
hell?
ask you what do you think of her hair?
I
I
did not like her
I
hair.
I like it actually, but it's not,
It's not the
it's
best
it's not the best hairstyle she's had, I would say, but I do like it. I thought it was cool with the kind of braid
with the
going across.
braids. Braids.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
cool.
Oh,
I
and
was gonna that
and
was
my
on my notes to ask you about her hairstyle. That's funny. Audience, what do you think about her hairstyle? Let us know in the
yay or nay.
chat. Yeah, yay or
Um,
nay on that.
no, and also I thought it was really interesting how the writers delved into Erica dealing with her post traumatic stress from her ordeal with the Gorn. That was very, very interesting. And the way that she reacted in this episode, the way that she took control of the situation to make the situation come to a conclusion that she accepted over what number one ordered was very interesting.
Not
I,
just interesting, but
yeah,
also definitely Laan was right about her being that was something that made me really uncomfortable too. Like she during the briefing, she says that doesn't sit right with me. Like if she has the ultimate, decision on this one, you know what I mean? Like that was kind of a weird thing. So she's definitely out of line, and she's definitely struggling with some issues, which I think is interesting. I worry about her, and I'm kind of concerned where this is going.
Yeah, I mean, well, the one place where it could be going is that Erica never finds her way back to her old self, and goes into a self-destructive pattern where she actually uh gets so bad that they have to reassign her to a different ship, and that
No,
could
I hope. Yeah,
well, hold up,
yeah.
and that could open up the door for somebody else to show up. Sulu,
Good
perhaps,
point.
maybe.
Good point. I
Look,
never
look,
thought about that.
look, look. I don't want it to happen. I like Erica. I like
But we
Erica.
know it's gonna happen because
Yeah, it's gonna
she's
happen.
not there in TOS. You're right.
Yeah,
So
it,
eventually,
it, it
that's the thing, the weird thing. It's like I'm getting attached to
to
this
these
bridge
characters that
crew,
are, that are not
and
there.
they're not gonna be there at the end of the
Yeah,
series,
yeah. I
possibly. Yeah,
mean,
yeah. That's a
yeah.
good
I mean,
threat. It's a good threat. It's a real threat to
yeah.
her. Yeah, her
Yeah,
character.
and also, you just mentioned one of my favorite characters, Laan, bringing up to Una that the way that Erica acted in this situation is completely improper, and she should respect Una's viewpoints on the situation. Laan's not going to be there either at the end of the series.
And Una, we know Una's gonna be gone too.
Yeah. Oh my God, they're all going to be gone.
The only ones
Ah,
that are gonna be there are Spock,
Spock,
Uhura, Chapel.
Chapel
Dr. Mbenga stays on the ship, but
for a while. Yeah,
yeah, but he's like second. He's like not really around. Who else is gonna be
not
Scott?
really.
Did I mention Scotty
Scotty's going to be
already?
there.
Scotty's.
Scotty's going to be there.
So yeah, a lot of the
Yeah.
crew that we are not starting to, that we've come to love. Something's gonna happen to them. I think reassignment is the thing.
Yeah.
My
That's not
guess,
bad.
my guess is that because one of the topics I wanted to talk about was how great Una was as a commander on this. I loved her captaining style, her just like all the ways that she did all that stuff. So I suspect that Una's fate will be to be promoted to captain
Yeah,
of another vessel. So we don't know what vessel, but she'll get another ship, and maybe Laan, Ortega's, and some of the other crew members, will go with her.
I really like that. I really like that idea, and I'm so happy that you brought up Una's command. The way that she did command this episode, because I really liked it as well. Like Una Chin Riley is one of my favorite characters on the show, and to see her be put in a position of power in previous seasons where I felt that she was kind of like uh uh in previous seasons where I kind of thought that she was like a secondary. I thought it was so wonderful to see her be put in the forefront and to deal with this high pressure situation. I do think that it is highly possible that when at the end of the day, uh, some of our beloved characters could be reassigned to a potential promotion by Una, and Una could take half the crew, and that could solve our problem.
Hmm. How well do you know Voyager?
Uh, I actually, well, I love Voyager, and I've seen it multiple times, but
Was that the first Voyager?
uh, I don't. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm
Because it
not
would be cool if Una. I don't know. It's kind of silly, but maybe it'd be cool if Una's ship that she gets is like the Voyager, but of this time.
That's interesting. That'll be really cool. I mean, I do know that the
It says,
Voyager,
I looked it up, and I think according to the Google, just a quick glance,
the
it
Google
looks
machine.
like she was the first of her. The Intrepid was the first Voyager,
Okay.
but that can be retconned. So
Yeah,
who
it can, yeah,
knows?
yeah, yeah, it can be retcon.
But then
No,
again,
but
some people would argue, like, why make it a familiar ship? Just give us a new, like make it a
the,
different ship and stuff
the
like that.
other thing that I was thinking about, places Una could go. What about Una becoming a teacher? What about Una becoming, let's say, like a headmaster at like a Starfleet Academy somewhere, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could see that path for her as
Right,
well.
molding young minds, right?
I'm trying to remember in Oh yeah, no, I think that was resolved in a positive way. But remember, there was that little bit of like nervousness because of how Boimler was reacting to
Oh
Una.
yeah.
That she was like nervous
Yeah,
about her
yeah,
fate.
yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause I'm like a boy,
He's so funny. He's a
and
poster
she's
of
like,
her. And
yeah. And she's like, why are you looking at me like that?
yeah,
She said, you're Una.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be you if you were suddenly thrust into the
Oh,
Enterprise.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. If I was thrust into specifically into the era of TNG and put on the Enterprise D, forget it. I'll be a disaster.
So the Captain Batel's treatment that they did in the previous episodes didn't work. And so the Gorn infection is back, and the little baby Gorn are trying to come back, and she's still gonna die. And yet they come up with this idea with the Chimera Blossom to try and merge the Gorn DNA with Una's DNA so that it stabilizes the whole situation. And I thought it was very interesting what was going on with all of that. And you know, I thought that was like one of the highlights of this episode was just the idea of like not telling Captain Pike this is the only chance she has. That whole mind meld situation was very interesting where Spock was like freaked out and kind of he had Gorn vision for
Yeah,
a second, and so
yeah.
that was interesting too. Is Marie going to how is this gonna play out in your imagination? And if if they are successful in merging the DNA, is she gonna have like superpowers now? Like what's
No,
her
I
like not superpowers, but is she gonna be enhanced in some way? Like it's a
no,
very
I think
interesting idea that they're presenting here.
for someone like Captain Patel, who was on the forefront for the Federation of of telling the Federation citizens why the Federation is so afraid and why the Federation is so against having enhanced individuals. It's going to be very, very interesting to see her as a enhanced individual. It's going to be very interesting to see if she survives how she deals with being a enhanced individual. Either the Federation accepts her as a enhanced individual, or a- um, out of respect for the job, she resigns
Well,
and
that
she
adds an
goes
interesting
right.
other complication because my impression is that this is all off the books. I don't think she intends if she survives, I don't think she intends to reveal
Well, yeah. Well, okay,
what's
okay.
going
Well,
on. So it's going to
right,
be even more interesting in that regard, I think.
right, right,
If there's side effects from it. I don't know. I don't know
right.
what they're going to do obviously, but
And also,
we'll find
yeah,
out.
yeah, and also, if she lives, if she lives at the end of the day as well, that's also something to consider. But I really like what you said because most of the stuff is off book. I had forgotten that story point of this episode, and if that's if it's off book, like that kind of makes her into a hypocrite as well because of what she dealt with
And they're
with
And
Una.
they're all conspiratorial. It's all conspiratorial. Like this just probably gets your goat, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does.
You're like, throw them all in
Justice.
the frig.
Like, come on.
Throw
This
them all in the
this
frig.
this whole conspiracy slash plot that they could be looking at, this like gives me so much fuel like to make a whole row of like drumhead episodes to discuss this whole thing.
Do you think we'll get do you think we'll get a I mean, who knows? I think we might get
No, but
another trial
yeah,
episode. That might be interesting. But what I don't know. It's very tough to know. We don't know. One of the things that we learn in the menagerie is that Pike seems to be single and alone in um
in
seems to be. We
yeah.
don't know the full situation, but he seems to be single and alone in the menagerie, and he ends up with Vina, who we already met in Star Trek Discovery. Um So he's gonna end up with Vina at in the menagerie because when he goes to the Telosian planet, um, and they restore him to his, using their powers to restore his form. That's who he's with, and that's kind of like an interesting thing too because that's either kind of not by choice necessarily, but also by choice. Like I do believe he loves Vina, but he seems very in love with Patel. So I wonder if there's a tragedy on the way. Like what is
Yeah,
why isn't Patel around,
yeah,
in TOS? Like
yeah,
is it
yeah.
just cuz she's out there captaining? Is it just cuz she's out there successfully captaining and Pike, just for whatever reason they're not together anymore, maybe because of the injury, and all that stuff?
Mhm.
Or did they have a falling out, because there's definitely some tension here too. Like, I liked at the end of this episode that they do embrace and he does like say, I'm scared too and all that stuff, and like that's what's, that fear is what's behind this whole thing. But he does feel, I think, like I think he both of them don't really understand. Like she didn't want to tell him because she thought he would do the quote unquote right thing and like try to find another way, and he's like, I just wish you had told. I would have supported you, but I wish you would have just looped me in on the decision. So that tells, there's definitely like an issue there when it comes to, sorry, that was 1 second. Okay,
Mhm.
we had Starfleet command interrupting there for a second. But
Eh,
what do you think? What do you think their where do you think their relationship's headed? In other words, I
I
guess. What's your
I
speculation on that?
I do think that where the relationship is headed is 50-50 for me. Either it's going to end in tragedy and Patel is going to bite it at some point, or they're going to they're going to end their relationship amicably. And that's why it's Vina at the end with Pike instead of Captain Patel with Pike at the end. Um, but I do think that Captain Patel was in the right not to tell Chris, not to tell Chris what her ultimate plan was, and that she wanted to infuse her DNA with Gorn DNA as a last stitch attempt to save herself. Because I do
Mhm.
think that Patel was right. Chris would have freaked out, and Chris would have demanded them to find another way. And while they were finding another way, Patel would have died. Um, there is this thing where you love someone so much where you do certain things to protect them and to protect them from themselves and to protect them from themselves, and that's what I think Patel did for Pike in this situation. Because
That's a
I
really
don't,
good
yeah,
perspective, yeah.
yeah, because seriously, I don't think Captain Pike would have been able to make the right choice if he would have been told.
Right, or he would
Just
have, yeah, it was kinda like, I don't know. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
yeah,
good
or
question.
yeah.
What did you think of the daughter of Ra, that character, and
Uh,
like her deal with honor and like the whole
uh,
thing with her beef with Mbenga, and she had planted the, I mean, she went all out. She like planted a Viridian tracker on him and all
yeah,
that stuff. It was like crazy.
yeah. Look. All due respect to that wonderful actress and that wonderful storyline from season one, that did not work for me. I would have really appreciated it if that was just like some random Klingon
Hmm.
who wanted a flower from Viridian. I want to say Viridian 4, right? Viridian 4.
Uh,
Um,
no, the planet is
no,
called Kenfori, right?
right, Kenfori, thank you.
Yeah, the
Uh,
Kenfori, the Chimerian. I think you're thinking it's called the Chimerian Blossom.
right. I would have preferred it if that Klingon wanted the Chimerian blossom for their own purposes. Like if that Klingon was a Klingon that didn't believe in the Klingon creed of death is honor. Like it would have been really interesting if that Klingon for half the episode would have been suffering from like some debilitating disease, and then at the end
Oh, interesting. Like
found
that,
found
like
their honor and yeah.
Yeah, like in other words, like you're saying like competing for the Chimerian blossom would have been
Yes.
more interesting than the oh okay.
Yes, yeah. And if and if at the end of the episode that Klingon found their sense of honor and still sacrificed himself for Jacob and Pike would have been really cool.
Well, I'm not a huge fan of the Klingons. Like they've never really been like, I'm not obsessed like some people are with the Klingons. I do think they're cool, and I think the Strange New Worlds depiction of the Klingons is really good. I wish they had gone with the no ridges like in the original series, with the
With the plain nose ridges or
well, just the no ridge. Like they have like in TOS they just look humanoid but with like, funny beards and stuff like that. And
oh, okay, funny. Yeah, that's
yeah,
right. Funny
and
beard.
like whatever, but or like a mix of them. But I do love the design. I think
Hmm.
it's fabulous, and I like the golden, like because the original series Klingons have that gold sash or whatever. So I like that they and the gold tunic, and so I like that they incorporate that in the armor here and stuff like that. But I did actually enjoy um her dynamic with Dr. Mbenga, and like I did like the kind of Joseph having to bring out this what he considers the monster. Like I like this whole Jekyll Hyde idea that they've kind of given to Dr. Mbenga. Well, that's funny, Doctor. He's a doctor, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, right? Like
Yeah,
there's that dynamic going on. Um, and I thought that the Klingon, um, I thought that her honor, I like that line where Pike's like, but no one's gonna know her sacrifice, and he's like, she'll know, and I'll know. Like he kind
and
of,
we'll know.
yeah, like, but he even says, I'll remember. Like it's kind of like he's i- in fighting the Klingons, he's learned their ways and he appreciates their ways. He actually doesn't like hate them in a way that you would think someone so traumatized does. He understands them, and he's frustrated by them, but he understands them. Like he definitely gets the whole thing, or whatever.
Right,
He
right.
just doesn't like it, and I love that kind of complication, and like it gives a lot of food for thought, and stuff like that. But my favorite thing was how, and I hope this is something that will change Dr. Mbenga, because in TOS he seems like a happy-go-lucky kind of guy. Like he doesn't seem as traumatized as he is here. So I love that ending where he and Pike were sitting down after they were rescued and they're having the conversation, and Dr. Mbenga's like, well, what are you gonna write in your report? And Pike's like, there's not gonna be a report. This was off the books. And he's like, well, hypothetically, if you had to write something, um, and then Pike says, well, the situation was grim, and uh you made up a story to save my life. And he's like, would you agree with that, assessment? And Dr. Joseph is like, I would, like he's relieved. And then, but you could tell he's relieved, but he's still like, it's still like I love the performance in that moment, because he's like, I would, but he's like, it's like a kind of like guilty, like there's like guilt in his voice or whatever. And then Pike says to him, look, man, you're not a monster. You're just a you're just a man, and you're my friend. And I think that validation, to hear that from Pike, like I hope that that's something that's going to positively affect the character, and like let him like so that he can kind of let go of this baggage that he's been holding on to of considering himself a monster. And ironically, I think Ortega's has a similar kind of beef with herself that she needs to resolve. So I like the two different, kind of, she doesn't consider herself a monster, I don't think, but there's definitely like some kind of chip on her shoulder that she has now, and so I hope that the two characters come together and maybe they can help each other out and stuff.
Yeah, I do think, I do think that, at the end of the day, Dr. Mvanga is going to find a way to sort of, for, is going to find a way to cope with his trauma from the Klingon War. I don't know if he's going to become the Dr. Mvanga that we know in TOS, but I think he's going to get pretty close to it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Um,
hoping. Yeah.
yeah, and listen,
And
Erica,
we find
because
out he had 4 wives. That's crazy. I don't know.
oh
I
my
don't think they
god,
said that before. He's been married 4 times.
yeah,
He's not good in relationships, clearly.
yeah, he definitely has some. He definitely has some extramarital problems. He 4 times, four times, and only one kid. Wow. Um, no, but listen.
Oh, that we know of. Maybe he
Yeah,
has
that.
surprised kids, like
Yeah,
Sarek.
yeah,
There's
yeah,
other
yeah,
kids.
yeah. That we know.
But
That we,
I think Nakia was his only daughter.
when it comes to Erica and how she's going to deal with her with her situation right now, I think that she just has to find some way to sort of to sort of I don't know how to say it to sort of to sort of de-stress her emotional state, and if she's able to do that, I think that she'll get back to the Erica that we know and love. But if she can't, like I said, there's a potential of her being reassigned uh, to another ship or to another posting.
Yeah, well, she has 2 weeks off duty, and she's supposed to report to the warrant officer
The warrant officer.
to get chain of command training, which I thought was
Whew.
really, like she needs to be
Yeah,
reminded.
yeah,
In other words, like you need to be reminded what your place is,
yeah. Who? Yeah,
Lieutenant.
yeah, yeah. Who is a warrant officer on the ship?
I don't know if we've been introduced to them yet, so maybe we'll meet them.
Interesting.
I'm not sure if they'll be
Very
a part of it or not. Um, let's see what else do I have in my notes. I think that's all I have in my notes about this episode. Pretty straightforward. Um, I guess my only other comment would be that, like, I hope we get a lighter hearted episode come next, because this one was
yeah.
pretty heavy. It was good. It was action packed and intense, but I'd like I don't know. I'm more. I do think, obviously you have to have a balance, but I'm more partial to the lighter
The lighter
hearted fun.
ones.
Yeah, the lighter hearted fun episodes myself.
Mm.
Any other thoughts? Any closing thoughts? And I guess we can give it a little rating.
Yeah, look, like I said in the opening to this review, I like this episode, but I thought for me personally, it was miles behind of the last episode that we talked about, the wedding episode, because that
Mhm.
episode was just like the top for me. So with everything. But if I ultimately had to give this episode a rating, it did had stuff in it that I liked, but it also had a bunch of stuff in it that I didn't care for. So, with that being said, I will give this episode a 4 out of 10 stars.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was expecting your rating to be a little bit higher. Well, for me, this episode was also not an episode that I really like. Again, was like maybe not one of my. I don't think it's gonna be one of my favorite episodes, but it certainly had a lot of great themes and stuff like that. My rating's a little higher, but I guess I always trend higher. So I give it a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
So yeah, audience, if you're still around in the chat, let us know what you would give this episode, rating from 1 to 10. I guess before we sign off, Marcel, is there anything you'd like to tell the audience to go check out? Some of the things you're doing and projects you're working on. I know this is not going to. We're recording this 3 weeks ago from when. Yeah,
Oh,
so this is 3 weeks ago from when this episode actually aired. We're lucky to have gotten a special Section 31/temporal agency delivered a wonderful little surprise for us, so we got to see him a little early.
a bunch
uh,
early.
but
Yeah.
but even still, in general, what are some things you'd like folks to go check out?
Yeah, guys, if you want to listen, if you want to check out anything that I do, the best place to find links to everything that I do would be on X. I'm at Creek Fanatic 88. You can see it right there below my name in my little window there.
Yeah, and you can find me on X at Starfleet Boy, and everywhere else is Starfleet So Um, I guess uh, Yeah, same thing. This is all I'm doing is recording these episodes right now, but we do have
Yeah.
to catch up and finish those lower was it lower decks that we left off on, right? We haven't finished our lower
Lower
decks
decks.
discussion.
We haven't finished lower decks yet.
Uh,
We gotta get back to that.
hopefully by the time this airs we'll have gotten a few of those into, but
Yeah.
definitely prioritizing Strange New Worlds because it's the new thing. Overall though, first 3 episodes are pretty good. I would say
Yeah, man.
solid start to the season. Let's see what's coming up ahead. If there's nothing else, Marcelo, we'll wrap it up.
No, yeah, let's go home. Let's take it home.
All right, folks. Live long and prosper, and we will see you next time.